Hey guys, how's it going and welcome back to another Total War video with the Terminator. Tomorrow, after a year of epic exclusivity, a Total War Saga Troy launches on Steam, promising to deliver the Trojan War experience in a truly mythic light with the Mythos expansion, as well as the free-to-play historical mode, which strips away all the mythical elements, leaving an authentic Trojan War experience. In this video, I'll be reviewing the new campaign modes, the changes to the game with patch 1.6.0, and giving you my final recommendation on whether Troy is worth buying on Steam. Let's get started. When you first launch Troy on Steam, you are immediately greeted with a what's new message, essentially giving you a summary of what each campaign mode is about and the option of choosing one of 3 campaign modes for your first playthrough. The historical mode, in a nutshell, is everything mythical removed, so no mythical units, no godlike powers or single entity heroes. Praying to gods provides a generic bonus like unit upkeep or food production, and the campaign map looks a lot less color saturated for more realism. And we have Mythos, which replaces all the mythic type units in Truth Behind the Myth mode with actual mythical units like the Cyclops or the Minotaur, or the major mythical creatures like Hydra, Cerberus, and the Griffin Patriarch. Now, whichever campaign mode you end up picking, one of the new additions to the game is the administration mechanic, which aims to limit the snowballing effects of Total War games, making unit upkeep more costly the bigger you get, and essentially making it more difficult for you to maintain your faction in the late game. There are also hundreds of smaller changes introduced with patch 1.6.0, from unit rebalancing and stat tweaking to changes to the menu, to changing building effects, to tweaking AI behavior in the campaign, that all add up to a much more refined player experience. Community feedback played a major role in the changes introduced in this patch, so it's a very nice thing to see CA listen to the community and do their best to improve the game. Finally, it's launching on Steam, which means depending on its success, the Total War modding community might sweep in and use their modding magic to make the game even better and add new original content that elevates the player experience or even overhauls the game into a brand new one, like a new Lord of the Rings mod or a Game of Thrones mod. The potential is huge with this game, so just another reason why it's definitely worth considering. So let's dive right in with the historical mode. The first thing you'll notice on the campaign map is how it looks. Colors are dimmer, there's a distinct absence of gods in the sky, and you really do get the sense that only realistic creatures roam these lands. I mean, I quite like Troy's original vibrant feel, but one of the first things I did when I got the game is use reshade to tone things down a little, so this is nice. It's a bit more realistic, and it suits the historical authenticity CA is going for with this mode. This historical authenticity, while questionable because there's not a lot of evidence of the time period, is closer to what could have been with all the mythical stuff removed, so if that's what you're looking for in the mode, then this is absolutely it. Your heroes now come with bodyguards, which with higher skill levels can be upgraded into better bodyguards. Praying to the gods now give you generic benefits like food production or public happiness, so there's no divine element to this side of the game either. And of course, all mythical units have been removed, leaving you the most realistic possible playthrough of the Trojan War. But personally, I'm a little bit underwhelmed. I know there's not a lot of evidence to support having naval warfare in the game, but most of the map is covered in water. A lot of the time you'll be traversing across the Aegean to meet your foes. It only makes sense that for a more enjoyable experience, naval warfare should be introduced. It could be as simple as how it was in Shogun 2, with barges of people either going at each other in range or close up for some melee action. Another reason why personally I don't care too much about this mode is the lack of any additional content. I get it, CA are more invested in the fantasy side of things. I mean, all their advertising was Mythos focused, but that does not mean it's right. The patch notes make it seem like the administration mechanic was added in for the historic mode only, but it's in all modes, so that doesn't really count. What I would have liked is more fleshed out campaign missions, maybe an internal political system like a council of elders that gives you missions like in Rome 1, or an oracle, for example, that you ask for guidance, who gives you a riddle you need to solve for a benefit or a penalty or something. Just some minor little content bits here and there that could make the historical mode feel like its own mode. If you want to play Troy without all the mythical stuff, this is it, and you won't be disappointed when you play it, especially with the latest this patch, but I personally just wish it wasn't simply a stripped down version of the other two modes. I wish CA gave it the love it deserved to differentiate itself from the others in its own unique way. So my personal verdict on the historical mode is a 6 out of 10. It's certainly more historically accurate with all the mythical stuff removed, but for me it just doesn't have its own individual quality compared to the other modes. If that doesn't bother you, then absolutely go for it. Then we have Mythos, and right away the first thing you're going to notice again is the campaign map. New assets like the strange sea creature popping up in the middle of the Aegean, to Zeus unleashing a thunderbolt on a ruined temple every now and then, and the fantastic array of gods and mythical creatures in the sky makes for a truly immersive and beautiful experience. In my mind, there isn't a campaign map quite like Troy Mythos. Battle maps as well are breathtaking, with a backdrop like this one, for example, with ruined ancient buildings, or this one with the remnants of Titan battles of old that provide a real mythical atmosphere to the whole game. It's just so well done. Back on the campaign map, praying to gods now grants you various units like the Minotaur or the Cyclops, as well as some divine battle abilities like Zeus's Thunderbolt, a highly effective lightning strike that zaps units out of existence. And this is just a small flavor of the kinds of abilities you can expect in Mythos. And of course, we get the bulk of what this campaign mode is all about. From the centaurs to the shades of Cerberus to actual harpies, it's all here and it all looks and plays really well. I think we can all agree that when Troy first launched last year, the truth behind the myth mode didn't really stick. Giants felt out of place, powerful single-entity units made the game feel mythical, and yet there were no fantastic beasts like we have here in Mythos to make it be mythical. Well, a year later and Mythos delivers exactly that. There are loads of units you can recruit all across the campaign map right from the get-go, but the main course is the Mythic Expedition, which involves you sending a force of units to hunt down one of the 3 major creatures. And that could have been it, but from there you actually go through 5 dilemma-type messages every 2 turns, telling you of the expedition's experiences, key choices that give you boosts or penalties depending on what you decide to do. It's a brilliant mechanic because it keeps you involved in the expedition while you start up the beginning of your campaign and leads up to the final big battle between you and the major creature. The battles themselves are played out on beautiful maps against challenging foes with huge rewards, so it's so worth it. And at the end of it all, you get to use one of the major units in battle and as an agent in the campaign map. You get some new buildings as well that provide some benefits or unit recruitment, and you get these new mythical minor units, spearmen, archers, cavalry, etc. to add to your roster, which is frankly awesome. But again, there are some drawbacks to it for me. The mythical narrative ends when you capture one of these giant mythical units. There's nothing further there. You just go about your usual campaign now of the Trojan War with the addition of these mythical units, which is great, but just feels a bit like a missed opportunity to expand the mythical story element. Why not, for example, introduce a Titan that invades your lands, forcing you to create an alliance of armies to fight it off? Or what about challenging other armies that have major mythical units to defeat them for divine favor? A lot more could have been done here. A lot more content could have been added to bring out the mythical gameplay, especially on the campaign map. Clearly, a lot of work has been done for Mythos, but part of me can't help but feel you're paying £20 for essentially mythical units and 2 hours content to hunt down and tame whichever beast you decide to go for. I mean, if that's what you're looking for in Mythos, then great. But I expected a bit more narrative, a bit more that drives me to complete a campaign in Troy. Aside from that, Mythos is absolutely amazing. Battles are a real joy to play and really ups the mythical ante, especially with that backdrop. I abuse the hell out of photo mode to capture the epic moments of my battles, and overall this does feel like a successful iteration of Troy. My final verdict on Mythos is an 8.5 out of 10. The new content is well worth the money. It'll keep me playing for a long while to capture different mythical units, use them against different types of enemies, gain divine favor with all its new benefits, to that final endgame of taking the city of Troy, this time with a giant 3-headed dog, or a poisonous hydra, or a menacing griffin. There's still plenty that makes me second guess whether Troy is inherently a good Total War game, even with all this new content and the latest patch, but it does seem like it's more refined, it's got more character, and certainly is more unique in the series of Total Wars. Personally, I'll always go back to Rome 2 or Medieval 2 for more historical gameplay, and I'll always load up Warhammer if I want something that's even more fantastical and visually appealing. But the beauty of Troy, especially with the historical mode and the Mythos mode, is it tries to cater to all Total War players definitely more successfully compared to when it first launched on Epic last year. Finally, before I end the review here, I want to mention that I think people who've bought the game on Epic since its launch last year shouldn't have to pay for it again on Steam. I think that's completely unfair to the people who've already paid for it, and I think it's again really greedy of CA not to differentiate between people who redeemed it for free and those who paid for it after its first 24 hours. People who got it for free, I think personally, should still be happy to pay for it on Steam if they want it, because you're essentially paying for more than what you got last year at a discounted price, and according to this review anyway, it's worth it. Overall, CA did something interesting with Troy last year to try and cater to both historical and fantasy Total War players with some great new mechanics, great looking visuals, but it really failed to capture the essence of the Trojan War, and the game really lacked that much needed character. Tomorrow, Troy launches with that character, that uniqueness that we all thought was missing, and it's worth it. At launch, you can pick up the Standard Edition, which comes with the base game, for 25% off, the Mythic Edition that comes with Mythos as well for 30% off, or everything all together in a Heroic Edition for 40% off, which honestly is not bad at all. I also know firsthand that at least some mods on Epic will get ported over to Steam right away, and we're going to get loads more mods in the next few months as well. So I say let the good Trojan times roll. And that's it for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video and found it informative. If you did, give it a like and drop any thoughts or questions in the comments section below. Subscribe for more Total War content, gameplay, and news. And thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.